Well, I've been out here putting compost tea to my rose bushes and my other potted plants. So I wanted to tell y'all, if you have plants that are going to be coming up in the spring, you know, like a lot of mine, my crepe myrtles, my rose bushes, peppermint, mums, a lot of that kind of stuff. I've been going around today and I've just been filling up my bucket with compost tea. And I am still sick, so you have to bear with me. I've got a chest congestion that's just going crazy. But if you'll fill your buckets with compost tea, go around and just put a bucket full to each plant. I mean, if it's a big rose bush, if it's something smaller, you don't have to put a whole bucket full. But just water them like you normally would, but just use your compost tea. And first time it rains, it's going to wash all that compost tea down into the roots. And you'll see a big difference to your plants when they start putting out new growth in the warmer weather. As you know, it's not long, or at least it's not long here in Texas, where I'm at, that planting season will start. Like I said, I plant mine like the second week in March. But this is going to help your plants tremendously. And I've got to refill my buckets with water. Oh, I feel better today, but I'm still so congested, it's unreal. And you'll find, you know, that if you've been putting peelings and stuff in your compost tea buckets, they're pretty strong. So you can even dilute it down a little bit. Like I've dipped water out of these 2 5-gallon buckets several times to the bottom and refilled them with water. And there's still plenty of compost tea in there to re-dip again. These are the buckets that I had put catfish in. I put a catfish in each bucket. And it wasn't a matter of like 3 or 4 days before that catfish broke down and you couldn't even tell there was one in there anymore. So that makes some good compost tea. Now, a lot of my plants look dead, but a lot of them are dormant right now. They'll be coming out, putting out new growth as soon as springtime heads this way. In most cases, you can just refill them and dip them again. Because I don't dip completely all the way to the bottom, about maybe 6 inches to the bottom of the bucket. About as far as my little bucket will go. And I'm just fertilizing, basically. I'm fertilizing all my pots. Now my okra pots and stuff like that, I'm not watering because I'll have to replant in those to get anything to grow. But in these, I've got stuff growing already. And like I got my peppermint that's going to be coming back up. And too, it's a good idea to keep your plant, your soil moist. And not let it break down. I mean, it'll keep breaking down and keep you in good soil if you keep it damp. Get my legs all wet. Yeah, I can't think too straight yet because I'm not that well. I'm still congested and I don't feel good, but I wanted to get out here and put a little bit of compost tea to some of these plants. So if you've got any pots, like I say, that's got anything in it that's going to be coming up again for this summer, for this spring, or start growing around February, go ahead and put compost tea to it. Even though it's still dormant, go ahead and put compost tea. Oh, man. I'm going to put some water to these pots, these buckets. Because as you see, I've got beets growing right there. And I got other stuff coming up in these, carrots. Like I said, I don't know if they'll survive if we get another freeze, but just in case. And I'm not watering them much because these seeds that are coming up are basically at the top, and the dirt is probably damp underneath. But I just want to make sure that the seeds have plenty of water. And I got to get out here and burn this stuff. And I may just do that today, I'm not sure. But yeah, the sooner I get that burnt, the sooner I can put stuff in there, my buckets. I'll just have to move my buckets out of the way. So we'll see. Maybe I might do that. Can't tell what I'm showing you. Move these buckets out of the way and I can go ahead and burn this stuff. And I've got I need to open my other house door. I've only got the back door open right now. But see, my rose bushes, they look pretty good considering what they've been through this winter. You know. I mean, they'll all come back and be really pretty this summer. We start getting some rain. But yeah, if you got plants that are going to be coming back up, go ahead and fertilize them. Put your compost tea to them. Keep the soil moist to keep those roots alive. And you'll see the difference in the plants when they come back a little bit later. Well, guys, this is the only time I get to burn stuff in this fire pit. Can't burn stuff here when I've got things growing, but since it's basically dead right now, I guess I can go ahead and do that. Can't burn it when the stuff is growing because it burns the plants. So right now is the only time I've got to do this. Wind's blowing just a tiny bit. It's not really blowing, it's just a little breeze. And I got some old dead tree limbs, you know, that I trimmed up this past summer. I need to get them in there too. I got some more stuff over here. Doesn't take too long for it to burn once it gets dried out. But this way I don't have to burn anything after I get plants growing. Got a bunch of seeds I need to harvest. I'll just put them down in there. Maybe they'll come up on their own. Ooh, that's hot. Good way to keep it burning. Put some accelerant on it. Ooh, that gets a little warm. Now what I'm going to do is put, after all that burns down, I'll put a couple of inches of wood chips in there, and then I'll set my buckets in there. Put them in a round circle, put some kind of feature in the middle, I'm not sure what. But the good thing about the buckets is I can move them. I can put them in there for the summer, and then later when all the plants die off, I can take the buckets out and use it for a fire pit if I want to. And I've got another fire pit on the other side of the house, so it'll all be good. But you can see I can put quite a few buckets around in there. Probably 8 or 10 buckets to sit in there, so when I mow the grass I don't hit the buckets with the lawnmower. So the fire pit will work as 2 different options for me. One is a fire pit and one is a planter, basically. That's about all I've got to burn too, because the rest of that stuff over there is not cut loose. I just burnt what was cut loose already. And see why I wait and let it dry? It burns a lot faster. Try to burn it when it's green, it just smolders and sits there and burns forever. And I always try to stay upwind of the smoke because I'm allergic to it. It'll make me sick if I breathe it. So if it's blowing one way, I'm on the opposite side of it. I learned that a long time ago. I love having a fire out in the yard. And I've also got a portable fire pit. A steel one that I can move around the yard and burn whenever I want to, so it's not going to hurt to put the flower pot or the 5-gallon buckets in this one, just for the growing season for this summer. I love having a fire outside. It's kind of neat. And then sometimes too, when I have a fire in there, I take those coals right away and use them in my buckets and my totes. Because ash is good to put in your soil. You don't want too much of it, but it is good to put some of it in there. But yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good planter for this summer. Just set my buckets over in there, and that'll be like bordering with the cinder blocks. That way I don't have to move more rocks or get more cinder blocks. I just put them inside there. Circle them around it inside. That'll work. Like to have more areas to put them in like that, but I've got a fire pit on the other side of the house, but I want to keep at least one open to burn something in if I have to. So, and that one doesn't have really anything growing around it close enough to hurt, as long as I don't have a great big old barn fire. You know, if I have a small fire, it's not going to hurt anything. But that's just about done. Go ahead and let that finish burning down. That old log in the middle didn't want to burn for some reason. Let's see if I can put some on it to encourage it to burn, because I want it to burn. It had a few nails in it, and really didn't want to have to pull the nails out of it. I used to try to burn leaves, but I don't burn my leaves anymore. I rake all my leaves over here in this section to keep the grass from growing. I put them all in all the sections that I have pots and stuff in, and I'll probably maybe even put some in this fire pit before I put the mulch in there. Put some leaves on there and then put some mulch on top of it. Got to rake some more in here too, because all of it's breaking down. Haven't had too many leaves to get yet, because they really haven't fallen. I mean, look at the trees. They're still full of green leaves up there. Once they all fall, I'm going to have 1,000,001 leaves to try to rake up and put in that section. Right there. And of course, you know, I put them in my totes and my buckets too, to help make soil. Or sometimes I'll dig some out of here that's already broken down and put in there. Put them in my compost bin over there, and the Miracle Grow compost bin, I put some in there. So, with that, like I said, I'm still sick. I'm not feeling too good, so I'm going to call it a day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, and y'all have a blessed day.